That's another thing, that I think would be positive. Another positive for me that I think that what I'd like to see for the remainder of the season is like to see the team having more of an identity. I know it takes time because Mowbray's got to sort of work on the training field with the players to get them used and comfortable in the positions and the way he wants to play. So, welcome back to Small Heath Alliance FC. Now, at the time of recording this video, Birmingham City are 19th in the Championship table and played 29 games. And I was asking myself the question the other day, what do I think would make a good season based upon where we are right now? And that's something that me and Matt are going to talk about in this video.
So, lovers or haters, I think Birmingham City is undisputed that we are a very interesting club, and I think we've captured a lot of football fans' attention this year, for good and for bad. I think a lot of positives with the takeover, not so good there with Rooney, with that little saga which happened there. But I think at the moment we're sitting in 19th. I think if I'm being really pessimistic, I think we'll finish about 20th. I think if I'm being really optimistic, we'll finish about 13th. So I'm going to split the difference there and land us in the middle. And I think a good season for Blues this season. Surviving the drop, number one is the priority. And I think somewhere between that, in that 17th, 18th position, I'd be quite happy with.
Yeah, for me, the priority has got to be to stay up. We know from what the owners are saying that there's big things planned for the summer transfer window and the future moving forward. But obviously, being in the Championship is the main thing. Now, looking at the fixtures we've got left, I mean, I was looking at other teams around us, as we do with Birmingham City supporters, and looking at their fixtures and looking at our fixtures. I looked at our fixtures and thought there's some difficult games in there. But then
every game's difficult in the Championship.
Well, it is,
isn't
but then I was more optimistic when I looked at other teams' fixtures, and they're sort of playing the same types of games anyway. But what really encouraged me is when I looked at the games that we've got left, we've only lost 2 games to teams that are 13th or below. So those teams around us, most of the games we've lost are to the teams that are in the higher level of the Championship. So actually, I'm pretty encouraged that we will get enough points to stay up, and that is for me the big priority, is that we have to stay in the Championship this season.
And we've got the perfect man in the driving seat. I think Mowbray is experienced at this level. He knows how to get teams to the playoffs. Fair enough, we're not quite there this season, but who knows what a rebuild in the summer will do for us. And on that note, I think we need to get rid of a lot of dead wood. I think we've got a lot of players on high salaries who have been there for too long. We're a little bit stale. So I think a rebuild in the summer, Mowbray in the driving seat, let him get a few transfers through the door. And I think next season, I don't want to say we're pushing for the playoffs next season, but I think mid-table would be brilliant, and then possibly the next season then pushing forward. So I think you're absolutely right. If we can survive the drop this year, which I think we will, I think we'll be okay. Next season, let's rebuild, and then let's keep pushing on year on year.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Mowbray, for example, he said when he was appointed, he says he hasn't got a magic wand, and
Exactly.
and I suppose the difficulty with what's happened when the new owners came in, had all that optimism at the start of the season, but they were bluntly honest with us as Blues fans, and they told us that they were dealing with the legacy of the previous ownership, that they were on the cusp of FFP, and we knew in the January transfer window, they couldn't do very much, and they've done everything they said they were going to do.
Yeah.
So for me, part of the good season that I think is we've already got it with the owners that we've got. We're in a much better position with these owners.
Absolutely.
They seem to be doing the right thing, apart from that one big boo-boo, and that was Rooney.
A huge boo-boo.
That was a big mistake, and I think
was.
But what I liked about that, they acted quickly. They didn't just let it go on and on and on.
Yeah.
They realised that if we would have stayed with Rooney, we would have probably got relegated.
And what I like about it is, you're right, they acted quickly. They've got rid of Rooney. And I don't know whether you agree with this, but the toxicity around the club has just immediately lowered. It feels like everyone's kind of on the same page again. There's a little bit of a different vibe around St.Andrews, and it feels like, to me, as a team, as a club, we're ready now to push on, hopefully now to that next level. Yeah,
I think so as well. And I think that Tony Mowbray's come along, and he said that he likes to play on the front foot.
Yeah.
We had conversations. I remember games we went to Carrow Road at Norwich, and we was having conversations about when John Eustace was in charge, about the way that he allowed other teams to have the majority of the possession. Now, we know that you're not going to get promoted by doing that and sitting back. You might win games, which they did, and catch teams on the break, but Mowbray's got a completely different philosophy, which matches what the owners want, which is why he's in place. That's another positive for me, is that we are starting to look at the games against West Bromwich Albion particularly, and we went to Leicester, and we were on the front foot in the first half. We seem to be now on the front foot, but my worry is at the moment is just that we don't seem to be that as good as we were defensively.
Yeah. It's bizarre, isn't it? It's the same players, it's the same setup, relatively speaking. You'd think the defenders would still be able to defend, but something's happened. But what I like about Mowbray is he's the middle ground. So you got Eustace, who is very defensive, allowed a lot of possession. Rooney Ball was just all out it seemed like all out gung-ho, high line, playing out from the back. The players look lost. Whereas Mowbray seems like he's found the middle ground. He's playing to the players' strength. Because what Eustace said at the start, I don't know whether a lot of Blues fans realise this, but basically, if you read between the lines, he said he's playing to the players' strengths, so they weren't capable possibly of playing on the front foot. And obviously Rooney came in with his agenda, especially with the top dogs who came in with this front foot playing football. And it didn't work out because the players felt uncomfortable, they weren't capable of playing that fast pace, playing out from the back. And Mowbray's kind of come in and kind of found that middle ground. And to me, it's a pleasure to watch, actually. It's really nice football. The players look more comfortable, the players look more confident. And I think the longer Mowbray gets in that training camp and then hopefully gets to build in the summer, the more we'll just push on.
Yeah, but that's another thing, that I think would be positive. Another positive for me that I think that what I'd like to see for the remainder of the season is like to see the team having more of an identity. I know it takes time because Mowbray's got to sort of work on the training field with the players to get them used and comfortable in the positions and the way he wants to play. But just to see some form of identity, because under Eustace to an extent, but definitely under Rooney, there was no real identity to the club. I mean, Eustace did have more of an identity, but it was one that was more of a sort of defensive and hit teams on the break. Rooney was just sort of game by game, really. We didn't really know what was going on there. But Mowbray is a manager that from the previous clubs that he's managed always has this philosophy that he wants more possession. He wants to have he wants us to dominate games. So that'd be another positive for me if I could see in these games now that we're starting to get more possession and dominate games and stay up. Then for me, I think that would be absolutely. And then that would make us really excited about next season then.
Absolutely. And possibly a controversial opinion, don't know, but I'm happy to keep us in the division to see the more Eustace style football, just temporarily, work with the players you have. And how many times did we go down St.Andrews and watch Rooney Ball and say, you have to play with the capabilities with the players that you have? And I'm more than happy for Mowbray to make that decision, play to the player's strength, and then rebuild in the summer. Let's just keep us up this year. And I'll be happy with that. And as I say, we can move on. And I think the team is crying out for some sort of leadership. Where's our Stephen Carr, our Robbie Savage? Where's those kind of players who just took a game and grabbed it by the scruff of the neck and could get us those 3 points over the line? I think we're missing those kind of characters. But for me, I'm going to go with 17th. And I'm happy with that to finish this season off.
I'd settle for 17th. I to be honest with you, I'd settle for 21st. I just would like us to stay up. I think we will. But obviously, just to conclude the video, we as Birmingham City fans have over the years had some really, really tough times, and we're used to being let down. I think the new owners want to change that. And it's like when we had the defeat against West Bromwich Albion in our last match. They scored really late on. And, we've automatically, it's like the air going out of a balloon, you feel deflated. I think good times are on the horizon, and I think that we are going to have some moments when we are going to continue to have moments like that, because that's what football's all about. But I think the future is much brighter for us now. And this season, for me, is literally a case of seeing what Tony Mowbray can do with the players we've got and being really excited about the transfer window that's about to happen, because that's what the owners have said. So for me, I think, as you pointed out, Matt, it's got to be staying up. That's the priority.
But just one final point on that, though. Look at the difference a manager makes. I don't care what anyone says. The game we were at Stoke away. I watched the Baggies game at the weekend. Under Rooney, we would have lost them games.
Definitely,
100%. And Mowbray's already came in and made us competitive against a team who's pushing for the playoffs in their back garden. There's no shame in that. So I think Mowbray's making very good moves. I think he's a top class manager, and I think he's the guy to keep us up this season and then keep pushing forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at Leicester. We was there. First half against Leicester was absolutely brilliant. I couldn't believe that we dominated Leicester for 45 minutes like that. And that was just completely night and day compared to what we were watching.
Could have been 4-0 at half time.
So I think the signs are good. The signs are good for the. But as I say, the main thing is, I'm sure all Blues fans will be thinking this, that we have to stay up this season. We have to stay in this division, and we've had many seasons where we've been tinkering with relegation. I'm hoping that we won't be in that position. In that when we come to the last half dozen games, I'm hoping we'll be enough points away from the the relegation zone to be worried. But we'll see. We're Birmingham City. We don't tend to do things easily, but who knows now in the future. We have new owners and what appears to be a really good manager. But what do you think, Birmingham City supporters? Do you agree with us? Do you think that staying up is enough this season? Or have you got any further aspirations about what you think about would make a good season for you? Let us know in the comments below. It'd be great to share your comments and create a community of football fans that we can share our thoughts and ideas as a passionate group of supporters. So make sure you pop a comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you for future videos.